And now the word is out. Furiosa is a flop in terms of box office. And even though this seems like a surprise for many people, the Mad Max franchise has never been a great symbol of box office returns, not even with the last movie, Fury Road, or the Mel Gibson trilogy from the 80s. And this is all probably due to the fact that the Mad Max franchise has never been an example of free entertainment for the whole family, something that will be generally adored by the whole audience. The Mad Max universe is something that is much more close to the chest of the ones who really are fans. Because after all, they are dark stories, taking place in a post-apocalyptic world that is filled with pessimism. A dystopic world that belongs to the crazies, driven by gasoline and metal. So even though it is a famous franchise, it still is not something that all people from the audience will be willing to see and take their kids to watch. But that's okay, because everything that is generally enjoyed by every single person in the world is generally boring as well. And this is not the case of Furiosa, because once again, by the 5th time in this franchise, George Miller did a fantastic job. I absolutely loved this film, and I am suspicious to say that because I have a great passion for the Mad Max movies anyway, but I'm also not a huge fan of prequels and side characters having their own movies to take the protagonist role. So even though I liked the trailers, I didn't think that I was gonna be a huge fan of this new take on the Mad Max saga with Furiosa as the protagonist. But oh boy, how I love to be wrong, because this movie is simply marvelous. We have George Miller returning to the franchise and proving once again that he's one of those directors that puts all his care and his love in every single frame and how to tell this story not only by each object or each detail that we see on the screen, but how to compose these shots with creativity in every single one of them. So similar as directors like Sam Raimi, John Woo, Russell Mulcahy, who directed Highlander in the 80s. Directors that believe that each movement of camera is important to highlight something on the screen or place the elements on the scene in interesting and dynamic ways. Here he displays these abilities like a 20-year-old director that is just starting, filled with energy and extreme interest in unravel this world in front of our eyes. We have the famous zoom-ins and zoom-outs into a car or the eyes of a character that is a huge trademark in the series. Each combat or fight taking place over a vehicle is performed in extreme creative ways, including the deaths of these characters. And we also have something here that I think is new in the franchise, that are very long takes in sequence that, without cutting, fly across the scene to show us different elements of some situation, especially when we have a lot of bikers and gangs together. The movie has many CGI effects as well, which can be considered a letdown, taking into account the whole tradition of the franchise of practical effects with cars and everything. And I thought this would bother me much more, but to be honest, after 10 minutes of movie, I didn't even care anymore. The story, the characters, the universe worked so well that I was once again completely immersed in this world. And I thought the story of Furiosa worked really well. Like I said, I didn't like the idea of having a side character taking the role of a protagonist. For me, the Mad Max universe should only have Max as the protagonist, but I must say that I really liked her story and the way she is portrayed here by Anya Taylor-Joy. Her journey of revenge and rivalry with the character of Chris Hemsworth, the Mentos, is really cool. And putting this movie in the chronology of taking place before Fury Road, now I can watch that movie with different eyes, because now that I like the character Furiosa and I know her backstory, her legend, it's much more cool to see Max and her finally meeting in this universe and having an adventure together. And the performances are simply fantastic. Anya Taylor-Joy really convinced me that even though she is a small in terms of figure, she has the intensity and the bravery of a real fighter or a survival in this world. But the props really go to Chris Hemsworth, which is a guy that I was never really a huge fan of his. I know that he's a very generous actor that when he does a movie that goes well, he always compliments and gives the credit to the people around him. but when the movie goes bad, like the last Thor movie, he blames only himself for the things that went wrong. So this is true generosity from an actor. But here he really shines. This is probably the best performance of his career, playing this villain who is really cruel, but at the same time is also kind of funny and clownish. I mean, the name Dementus really fits him very well and creates another memorable character for the whole franchise. And this is it. I'm really happy to see that George Miller did it again, even though I was kinda betting against him. But I truly love this film. I know that probably this is the least best in the whole franchise, because I really avoid saying that this is the worst. There's no way I can say that. It's a really good movie, but it fits very well with the rest of the franchise, and I will surely put it in my heart and my shelf of movies just beside the others as an equal. Anyway, the only sad thing is that it is a flop already. That's why the title of this video, it's so good that it hurts. But it's okay. Like I said, it's better that only some of us truly understands and appreciates this world. What about you? Did you watch Furiosa? What did you think? Comment below. And since we are speaking about Mad Max, don't forget to see my new video talking about the Mad Max franchise and its influence in some of the best and scary road movies ever done. In this video, I will give you some suggestions of these movies for you to watch, so don't forget to check it out. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos about movies and other trash things that we love, okay? See you in the next trashing video, and bye bye.